them on Ascent as we get ready to jump into the action. You mentioned Sageless comps. Well, this is the map you're almost never going to see Sage brought into play. And for some reason, that's not the case here for Gen.G. A lot of teams going Sageless on Ascent. We've seen it time and time again from teams like TSM, from teams like Immortals, from teams like T1. But clearly, they are not drinking the Kool-Aid. They don't buy into its efficacy. You've got Asuna on site, and despite the fact that Huynh dive bombs it with the dash, taken down by the Phoenix, Guimon is going to pick off one and make his way towards heaven through that shattered glass. Currently waiting for the push to come through. There's two targets to his left. Nice double peek coming out. But in the meantime, B-side's been lost. They full rotated over to A off that early action. It was a bait and switch coming out from the likes of Gen.G. A solid look in the pistol.
At least for the time being, they are down one as far as personnel goes, but they have site control. They have the spike down. They really have everything they could ask for. At this point, you hear the pings coming out as members of Immortals start to flood their way onto the site. Effys, one of the last lines of defense, as Koler's able to take out P1. Stanny gets one as well, and MkaeL is able to trade it out, but it's not going to matter as Genghsta puts the finishing touches on him, and it's going to give Immortals the pistol round yet again.
Immortals looking strong in the retake, picking up right where they left off on map number 1. It's like nothing's changed for them, and they'll be moving into the first buy round. You can see the Bulldogs coming out. Even a Phantom in play for Asuna going light armor. You've seen a few teams go towards this more and more. Again, talking about the way the money works, we were talking about it at the end of the last series and coming into this one as well. The money is so awkward sometimes, even after you win a pistol. So Asuna going to go to the full rifle buy with some light armor to back it up. You can see a bulk of players right now built up towards mid. They've got some shotguns and pistols in play. The dark cover is going to go down on mid. And it looks like they're going to try and work some mid control towards Catwalk potentially. The spike is joining them in that territory.
Such a difficult area of the map to control, but such a pivotal one that unlocks so much if you're able to maintain it. You see the Jet all the way back in spawn. Has some eyes there, but it's going to get blocked off. There's Dicey rocking the Bulldog. The door is going to come down as Koler spots him and manages to get one with the door dropping down. Huynh sitting on the sideline for the rest of the round. Huynh goes up and Huynh comes right back down. Genghsta is able to get another one as well as MkaeL drops numbers heavily in favor of Immortals, and it's falling apart for Gen.G as you would expect. They don't have any guns.
Really well played again here from Immortals, surviving with only one player falling by the wayside. It was Koler, who's the B-side defender as the Cypher. I really like the setup right now. You can see they were playing passive on mid, allowing them access to market, utilizing Cypher's hardware to give them those clues that they're moving into position. He's got a camera up towards the backside of mid so he can watch for the push to come through. So he watches it, spots all 4 players inside the dark cover, starts to shut the door, picks off one. He's got the Jet backing him up in spawn. Really well played. And again, they're going to go to a similar setup. There really isn't a true mid defender currently for Immortals.
It's worked 13 of the last 19 times that they've played the map, so they're obviously doing something. Right, you see the spike at the hands of Gen.G. leaning towards A. You've got 2 members who seem to have established catwalk control, at least for the time being. But again, Dicey is going to be the first line of defense if they continue to make that push. Yep, they continued, and yeah, they got punished for it. Dicey gets the opening frag.
Satchel out.
Guimon with a trade to bring things back to a 4-on-4 as Gen.G continues to try to push out control onto this A site. Asuna feeling it, tries to go for a peek from back behind the default boxes, gets spotted on the push, and that will be site control for Gen.G as the spike goes down. You've still got Guimon lurking on the back end of this play, and oh, this is a freebie. The Jet doesn't even see it coming. The nade's going to come out as well. That's going to push Koler straight towards him. It actually works out quite nicely for the Cypher. Genghsta up in heaven right now, jump clearing, looking for intel. He's got the areas and starts spamming, and you can see the fear currently as Cleo 1 currently in hell had to move to get out of that position. Koler's going to get one coming through the dark cover over in Tree Room. But it will be Gen.G who win the first buy round. So at least there's that, a promising start here for Gen.G after losing the pistol.
Koler starting off hot at 5-2, and Genghsta's having himself very impressive opening few rounds of this map as well at 3-1. Really across the board, Immortals feeling pretty good. But again, like you mentioned, Boq, Gen.G they have that first round in their pocket. They have guns as well, and it seems like once again they're going to want to make a push towards A. You see Dicey on the minimap in mid, playing a little bit more aggressively as they hear Huynh dash his way in. And that should surely, at least according to the minimap, it's not triggering a ton as far as rotations go. Asuna playing just outside of the site. There's Dicey starting to rotate over. You're going to see him in heaven as the smoke drops on the side of A long. Huynh slowly making his way in. And it seems like they aren't even fully committed to this one quite yet. Just kind of waiting it out, looking to see if they can get any intel or maybe even a pick before they decide which way to go. One of the benefits to this map is you can play it that way with how quickly you can rotate, assuming you have mid control. But again, for now, both teams unscathed. Assuna's going to get intel, and that might be the green light. That might be go.
Dicey on site from Hell, gonna spot 2. The second one just around the corner of the default box. There's the ult being popped as well by Gen.G. Jcstani, not able to finish off Gimon. It'll come down to a 2-on-2. The glass has been shattered. Dicey is on site with 13 HP, and you can see the fear as he tries to find a better position. Now the back-end play is coming in from Sova. It's all about timing through short. There's the peek coming out from Gimon, though. He doesn't get there in time. The door's going to be closed. Cyber Cage goes down. The shot's coming out. Recon Dart sneaks through. No! It stops against the door, so it will not make it out through the door, but it doesn't matter. The spike didn't get planted in time. That is unfortunate. It was so close.
Yeah, there was potential there, but again, the clock proving to be the bigger enemy for Gen.G, at least in that instance, as they're able to put up another one. You see the buys on the side of Gen.G, a mixed bag, to say the least. Effys is going to rock the classic and full armor and not a whole lot else. PL1's going to do the same, and it is going to be 3 rifles, so there's the opportunity. But again, a mixed bag, and truthfully, on the side of Immortals, it's not a whole lot better. They have 3 rifles as well, but they have a Ghost and a Bulldog, so just a slight advantage. And even when you think about armor for Genghsta, you think about armor for Asuna and Koler, they don't have a ton as well. It looks like we have entered a tactical pause. We'll get you guys intel as soon as we possibly can. Get back into the game soon as well. But Boq, Immortals selected this map. This is the one they wanted, and they certainly have started off strong. 3-1 on the defending side. If you're Gen.G, what kind of a different look do you need to throw at Immortals to get back into the series, to extend it to Game 3?
I mean, part of me wants to say I'd like to see more mid presence from Gen.G. They're finding themselves on that A site. They're not having issues necessarily getting onto A. Obviously, when Dicey had the op in sight, it was a little bit of a problem. They lost a few players on the push. But I would like to see them potentially go back towards mid a little bit more and try and just get some semblance of mid control. But the way that Koler is playing this one with that passive setup using the cam, he's going to make it really difficult for them. So Gen.G, that's what they're talking over right now. I'd imagine this tactical pause is also sort of technical. You could see some players... I see the chat going right now. I'm trying to read it around there to figure out what's happening. But it looks like we're ready to go. I saw some players had joined, so I wasn't sure if that was disconnects potentially that came out earlier in the game. But either way, we are live and we're ready to jump into the action yet again here. As you can see, there is some mid presence coming out from Gen.G. You've got Gimon peering over that dark cover. He's looking for the Cypher camera, and the camera's been taken down. That camera's high enough to see over the wall, so they can spot out that mid presence as well. Now, Gimon does miss the nade. It was intended to go into that close corner in case a player was pushed up. There's no one there, so it doesn't really matter. But the nade is effectively wasted. MkaeL now moving up more towards B main. You can see you've got 2 players here. You've got the Sova and the Cypher. The Jet pops the ult. It's Dicey who's back in spawn currently. And it does look like we're going to see a B hit come in here. So we've seen a lot of presence towards that A site. We've seen some presence towards mid. But now we're moving back towards B. And with 40 seconds left on the clock, the timing could not work any better for them as they've pushed the Sova out. The paranoia comes in as well. Now there's the throw orb down that puts all the pressure on the Genghsta and Koler, but somehow Genghsta inside the smoke has found 3. That is a brutal and crushing stop coming in from Immortals as again the damage piles up. Huynh and Gimon going to try to fight their way out of it and somehow have brought it down to 1. It's Asuna with 20 seconds left, trying to stop them from gaining access to the site because the spike is still down, has not yet been planted. 15 seconds left. Huynh has to get back towards the site, but only has 21 HP. So he'll dive in and stick the plant. This is going to be a tough win for Huynh.
As soon as healthy, he's got utility as well. He's going to be able to push in. But look, if you want anybody in a position like this, it is going to be Huynh. He's going to go ahead and peek around, but he's not even going to get a chance to fire his weapon. Asuna with the wall bang right through that weak. Was probably a 2x4 piece of wood. Either way, not going to do a ton when it comes to stopping Asuna's bullets. Asuna's going to be able to take the site, take the defuse, and Immortals is going to take the round. A comfortable lead that just continues to grow for Immortals. And Gen.G with their first play onto B the entire half. They made it. They got onto the site, and it was a absolutely smothering play by Genghsta that kind of evened things up. But for all intents and purposes, if Genghsta doesn't get that 3-piece there, Gen.G are probably looking at a 3-2 score.
Gen.G gained access to B, but then somehow they got slaughtered by Genghsta, who just went huge from inside that smoke. It all fell apart from there. A bit disappointing right now if you're Gen.G, because you know how close you were to just easily winning that round. And then all of a sudden, things turn as the Sova goes huge on the B side defense. Dicey back in mid, currently playing a little bit more actively here for Immortals with the AWP. There's 2 targets there. They're going to go for the double peek. And there's the beauty of playing Jet, able to dodge the damage that could have been coming his way. Maybe a shot coming through the wall. You got to be careful of that. Now, player 1's able to pick off Asuna, who had pushed into the wine cellar. So his gluttony will be punished here. And we'll find ourselves again at even strength 4-on-4. The one nice thing currently for Gen.G is they have the Sage in play, which means the res is currently available to them. And they're going to go ahead and try to pick it up. You see the Sage going up. Effys has gone for the res. There's the ult coming out. Sorry, Gimon. You're going to be watching again from the sidelines. An understandable play coming in from the Prem. They try to make their way out onto the site. There's the Hunter's Mark, or Hunter's Fury being caught, but Jcstani is the one that's close, up close and personal. Player 1 has managed to sneak into the site, but taken down quickly by Dicey, and it's fallen down onto the Sage, who's over towards the tree with the spike down right in front of him. Dicey does not miss the shot. 3 on the round for Dicey as Immortals' defense continues to be strong.
Again, even with Gen.G having the res advantage, even being knotted up at 4-4, when it comes to personnel, they just haven't been able to get anything going. And it's not, I mean, Gimon's having himself a day at 8 and 6. He's double the only player closest to him in PL1 as far as frags go at 4 and 5. But Gen.G they just haven't found success anywhere. When they do manage to get onto the site, it's a debilitating play from someone on the side of Immortals to even things back up. And it just seems like nothing is going well for Gen.G. They haven't been able to catch a break, and Immortals continues to remain in full control. That was the issue on map 1, and that seems to be the case here too, as Dicey just adds insult to injury. Huynh out for the rest of the round.
Shock dart. Shock dart.
Shock darts going in towards B main, does significant damage to the Omen, who has to back off. Got MkaeL currently pushed up inside the market. Genghsta's backstairs. Paranoia comes out. Genghsta's just waiting around the corner. MkaeL's going to hold the angle. Nice shot coming out, and a follow-up from MkaeL. Neural Theft being popped as well. It's going to give away the position of the player who's in back sight. It's now up to Koler to stay alive. Manages to take down both before being traded out by Effys, who swings wide from lane, and it's Dicey again with another 3K on the round as the Jet. The AWP is just oh so powerful in the hands of Dicey. And at this point, Gen.G continues to stall out on their attack. They need to find a solution. This round is oh so important as, again, the investment is put in play by Gen.G.
The last time Dicey played on this map, again, was against China Win, and he went 19 and 7. So he had himself one heck of a day. Stanley did very much as well at 22 and 8. And truthfully, all of Immortals did. But it seems like Dicey is just looking to repeat that performance and have a repeat of the success that they found yesterday. Gen.G vying for mid control, but that hasn't worked. They've tried A, that hasn't worked either. And it's not working B for MkaeL as Dicey gets another one. You hear the ult being used. Asuna looking to enter his way in, a flash, he gets popped, but he's going to return right back into safety. The push, as you see on your mini-map, is starting to make its way up. Jcstani's going to drop that smoke. Oh, but there's a showstopper. Oh, the showstopper gets stopped! Jcstani gets one win, and Effys are able to trade 2 back as 2 members of Immortals drop, and Koler tries to even it up. There's just 1 member left on the side of Gen.G, and he's taking a quick trip to the next round. Genghsta finishes it off. Immortals up 7-1 right now. Gen.G look entirely lost.
One of the biggest issues for Gen.G in my mind, and this has been a problem that I've pointed out in the past, I just don't feel like they have that really strong op presence. Huynh is a capable opper, but not necessarily a scary one. Not one that's going to strike fear into the hearts of your opponents. When you look at players like Wardell or MkaeL, you look at those big and prolific ops, those aggressive oppers, the guys who are going to take the fight to your doorstep. Those are the players you get scared to match up against. I just don't feel like Gen.G has that. I feel like you have the case of an op player who just does it because they need that role to be filled, but a little bit more static with that play, a little bit more careful, a little less risk, a little more risk averse. So he's not willing to take those risks, not willing to really go aggressive with the play. So here we see Huynh try to buy the op, try to get into an aggressive position up catwalk, trying to sneak his way into a fight, and it backfires as they go for the ult pop with the raise to try to open up tree room so that op can do some damage, and everything just falls apart from there. They get crushed on the push. There was multiple players trying to gain access to tree room, and Immortals says, no, that's cute and all, but this is our map. We're going to take this series 2-0, and we're going to continue to win rounds the way we've been winning them. 7 on the board currently for Immortals, as again Gen.G tries to get out. They go for the wall boost inside B main. It does produce success as Genghsta's fallen. You see Dicey has pulled the knives out, and he starts getting ready to go up over top of the wall. Decides to back off, and sight has been gathered up here by Gen.G, so they will gain sight control enough for a spike plant, and it's going to be a 4-on-4 post plant.
Yeah, numbers are even up, and it's going to be a push on 2 fronts on the side of Immortals as Koler pushes in from one way, and the rest of Immortals comes in from the other side. But Asuna and Koler start to pick them apart. Dicey's going to dice them up and slice them up, and Koler gets the last one. Immortals gets another one, and Gen.G find themselves 1 round closer to taking a trip to the loser's bracket.
That is an important note. The team that loses this is not out. This is an upper bracket quarterfinal right now. So the winner moves on in the upper bracket to the semis. The loser goes down into a lower match. At that point, it is elimination. So either you win and continue to fight your way through a gauntlet of a lower bracket, or you get knocked out and you get sent home. Neither one of these teams want to find themselves in that position, but Gen.G just doesn't seem to have much fight in them currently. I keep waiting for things to just click for this team to wake up. And I'm hopeful that maybe we'll see a few more rounds put on the board, because the fear is you'll never get to see them play that defensive side if things continue in this fashion. We saw a similar problem earlier when Faze played against Sentinels. They lost the first half 12-0. They got crushed. They started winning rounds in the second half, but at that point, it's just too late. What are you supposed to do? Jcstani has the orbital strike ready, and there it's going to be over towards B. They know that the res is coming through, so they pop it immediately. That's frustrating, as is always the case for the player being picked up, being taken down immediately. Another kill coming in over on the A site. It's Jcstani finding his 2nd on the round win. Trying to be the can opener, trying to work into this B site, but the cyber cage goes down, and that allows Koler to get back towards the stairs.
Huynh slowly peeking his way around with the op. Looking to see if anyone's out of position. Make sure it's a coast, a clear coast, as they make their way on to B. And at least for now, that seems to be the case. Huynh is going to be able to get that opening frag and make that 2 as Genghsta and Koler drop. Heal 1. tries to make things happen. They are going to be able to get onto the site. 2 members of Immortals rotating their way through spawn. Unfortunately, they're going to be met with a nice big smoke and a nice big ice wall to deter their advancements. Asuna taking more of a scenic route, if you will, but it's going to go ahead and wait at least until that ice wall goes down and they can push together. They've managed to make their way closer and closer onto the spike, but the clock is not their friend right now. Effys just spots one. He doesn't get it, but he turns, gets the other one. Effys gets Asuna as well, and Gen.G gets a desperately needed round on the board. 8-2 still in favor of Immortals, but Gen.G slowly starting to show signs of life.
And it all started with Huynh. So the player we were kind of criticizing a moment ago for being maybe a little bit too passive, a little bit too, like I said, risk averse, not really wanting to force that issue or get aggressive as the Jet with the op. He's the one that opens things up. He still hits some 6 shots, even if he's less likely to try to run at you like you'll see from other oppers. Here he's able to open up that B site. We'll see if he can do that again. You see the jump peak coming out from him, but there's no one there currently holding that. They have switched things up a bit, so they've got 2 players currently playing mid-side defense. It's Dicey, who's in mid-market, and the Sova, who's been typically playing B on backup for mid. The problem is they're trying to work their way over towards the B site, so there's the Al drone to give away the position. The shock dart's coming through. The wall boost is in as well. That's what allows Effys to pick off Koler. They're going to continue this push into the site, but the defense has been locked out as the smokes are down. There's the flash coming through from Asuna, who tries to force the issue, gets taken down by Gimon. There's no opportunity for a trade as the rest of the team was not ready for that play. And as a result, you can see Immortals backing off of this one because they want to save the guns for the next round. So a little bit of a risky play there from Asuna, playing for himself and less for the team, and it costs Immortals a potential retake. They go on the back foot and try to save, and you can see Gen.G is already on the hunt.
Yeah, I think a key difference there for relative to the last couple of rounds is that Dicey did not open the round with a kill on the op. I think it was like 5. Don't quote me on this. Twitch chat, if you have been keeping chat, please let me know. But I want to say it was like 5 or maybe even 6 rounds in a row in which Dicey was able to open up the round with first blood with the op. This time, it was an aggressive bunch on the side of B for Gen.G that really nullified that play and really took Dicey out of position and really made him a non-factor. There was no op angle there as he was playing mid. They didn't even give him a chance to light him up. Here 13 and 6, certainly playing just fine. But in that last round, he just wasn't as involved as we had seen the last couple of times, especially at the beginning. So an important round again for Gen.G, a mixed buy here if you're Immortals, and that's going to be 4 rifles and an op on the side of Gen.G. So they're poised to make a run back into this thing, but how much do they have left in the tank? How's their mental? Will they be able to claw their way back in?
Asuna wants that ult so bad, so he started to work towards long to try to pick up that ult, but didn't feel comfortable. And it's a good thing he didn't tap it. There was a lot of presence on the other side of that one. The one-way smoke's going to go in as well, so they can spot the feed as they come around the corner. It also neutralizes the jump up, so it's a bit of a dual threat smoke. There's the dash in from the Jet. The flash comes out, the curveball. The molly's in, but it's not deep enough to actually push them out of that position. And they're actually able to fight their way out of it, despite the fact that 2 players were there. They pick up the kills, and now it's all up to Dicey. The paranoia comes through, but somehow, through that paranoia, able to hit the shot before it connects. So that'll be Huynh, who's taken down. You've got MkaeL as well on the lurk, coming through from mid. Timing going to be the problem for him here? Potentially no. Able to pick off the force before being dropped by Dicey. It's a 3-on-2. The numbers advantage here for Gen.G as we move into the final portion of the final round of the first half.
It looks like they're going to push it, and well, why the heck not? You hear it? Yep, there's, oh my gosh, the showstopper puts a stop to the half. Huynh able to get 2 for the 3rd kill of the round for him, putting up the 4th one for Gen.G. And Immortals still has a very impressive first half, but Gen.G putting together 3 much-needed rounds there to close things out. Now, if you're Immortals, this is where things get less than ideal, right? We've had conversations throughout the weekend, Boq, about what side is preferred on this map, and you can have arguments left and right about it, but the truth is, statistically speaking, it's a bit of a coin toss, and it seems to change every week. With Gen.G on the defending side, I can't help but think they have an opportunity to make something of this, but with how dominant Immortals has looked this entire series, it's going to be a tall order.
Here.
You can see them setting up the paranoia for long with player one, so he'll toss that paranoia out through the wall. That allows the aggressive player seen currently from the Raze location given away there by Guimon, has to pull the dart out. And the team is going to react to that and start moving towards mid and B site. You can see a lot of presence right now from Immortals starting to move up towards mid market. You've got the Omen and Spawn jumping currently over the wall, trying to spot them. MkaeL with the frenzy and Effys with the backup. The spike's been lost in mid. This B site presence is completely stomped out by Gen.G. That is how you make a statement to start a second half. Absolutely flawless pistol coming in from Gen.G.
And note how Gen.G established mid control there. They didn't have anybody back at spawn. They didn't have someone playing in mid. They had a tripwire, and they had people hanging out just on the outside of that mid map. And as soon as that tripwire went down, it was free range. It was open season on members of Immortals. A couple of really big kills coming out from the frenzy, and Gen.G is able to, like you said, open the half with the statement. Now they're going to have the gun advantage, so you expect them to win this one as well. But the death ball from Immortals that's rolling its way up A might prove to be too much. It doesn't look like Gen.G has the defenses here, as they only have 2 members on the side of A to fend this thing off. I imagine the rotation will come through as soon as possible. You already see the jet make its way over, at least for the time being, and Immortals sniffs it. Doesn't feel good. They're getting out.
Yes, they back off after getting the ult orb. They put presence there to try to pull a rotate in, and then they peel off and start running, thunderfooting towards B. So you can hear quite a bit of footsteps working their way in towards the B site. They're starting to make their presence known. You can hear the ult orb being picked up. They're going to start calling the rotate over. The Sage is here, trying to delay the push by using the wall to go up top over the smoke. The paranoia is in as well. Player one and Effys are here on the defense. And again, this B side is not open for business. You've got diceyzx on site with just a classic and 30 HP. Effys finds 4 on the round. I know that it's just a pistol, but the way they managed to make their way over towards the B site, up until that last minute, you had this concern. Because once they go for that ult orb, that starts to give away that audible clue that they're working their way towards B. Obviously, the wheels are already turning in Gen.G's head. They're like, okay, it's been quiet on A ever since we saw that early presence. They're likely rotating over, but you didn't see a shift come in from Gen.G on the defense. So it was a little bit concerning as you had 2 SMGs in position over on that B site. So you're like, okay, this could get a little bit scary because it's the Sage and the Omen, and the smokes come through. The Omen's kind of in a tough spot. The Sage uses the wall to go up over the smoke, and everything turns around off the back of Paranoia and the slow orb and the Sage wall. So well played by Gen.G to make sure that that did not become a problematic eco. No spike plant coming in for Immortals either.
It may not be as cohesive, but it looks like once again it's going to be a push onto B. The wall is there. That's going to give away their position as they blast through it. It sounded like they grabbed that ult orb as well. Effys is hanging out waiting on top of that wall. May get an opportunity here onto Asuna, but looks like Asuna's going to rotate away, and the push is going to make its way over to A. The spike taking the long way around wisely. As you see, the jet has full mid control on the side of Gen.G. The problem is, if that camera turns on, they're going to get spotted out. There's a tripwire waiting for him as well. There's that camera. There's the tripwire, and that's going to be all of the information that Gen.G need to know that it's going to be a play onto A. Dicey and MkaeL are able to get the opening frags, but it's going to get traded out as Koler and GMD join the fun. It's going to be a 3v3 here on the site. The plant has, it's a spike, excuse me, now goes down. And there are ults at their disposal as well. You hear Asuna drop it. He's going to go ahead and pull the door up and play this very aggressively. 1, make that 2 curveballs, not spotting anyone quite yet. Just gets away before getting met and lit up by 2. He's going to join the action again. Drops right back down as Dicey gets 4. Genghsta gets the last one, and that's a big round for Immortals.
That is such a strange set of circumstances that results in that play. So you have site control, and Asuna's like, don't worry, guys, I got this. I'll see you later. pops his ult, runs it back, picks the door up and goes straight at them, spots them out. Rez comes through right in front of the window, and all of a sudden it's this massive brawl right outside of the window. Just firefight going on in that territory. As the bullets pour in both directions, it's going to be Immortals who comes out on top of the exchange. Now the cash is good enough for the round that follows, as Gen.G stomped out that second round, so their money is built up just enough. And you can see the rifles are going to come out, but there is not going to be the AWP. But they do have a shotgun. That nade, it hurts a little bit, but not too much. Only one pulse connecting, so it drops him down to 88. There's the boombot coming in, and the double target proves to be a bit of a problem here. MkaeL around the corner, gunned down through the cyber cage. The blast packs come out and do a damage as they try to cross. Imon's gonna pick off one, make it another. That was the man who tried to pull the handle down to get that door to shut. It's fallen now onto 2. On the attack as the nade comes in, you've got Dicey low, 43 HP, hot hands towards heaven to try and slow down the push. There's a curveball ready for Asuna should they try to come through the door, and it works out nicely as he nets the opener on the retake against Huynh, but it all falls down to Dicey, and Dicey just not good enough this time around. It will be a 7th round for Gen.G. There's still some fight left in him.
Boq, for a moment, I thought we were going to see Asuna do it again. Pull up the door, curveball his way around that thing, and take the fight to him, but this time it paid off. This time it worked out. And if you're Gen.G, you're feeling pretty good. You're making your way back into this thing. You've got some guns. You've got some money, certainly more than it looks like Immortals has to spend, Genghsta being the exception to that statement at 5,500. We'll see if he opts to spend a little bit where he can, or just stay with meager resources as his buddies do. No, it looks like he's going to pick up that Bulldog. So 3 rounds of this half going in favor of Gen.G, and they're starting to make a game out of this thing. There's the Blade Storm that's been used, Dicey, and it looks like the rest of Immortals are going to make their way up mid. There is a tripwire, and there's a camera as well. The camera's been spotted. The camera's been taken out. But, again, that's intel. That's what they need.
Huynh, early kill onto the spike carrier, no less, as Jcstani gets caught as the smoke goes down. Slow orb towards Cat. Gotta be careful. There's the knives coming out from Dicey. And Dicey's gonna slice up his first target as Effys gets cut into millions of bits and pieces. They try to get onto the site, and they do so successfully as again Dicey finds another, but at that point he's looking around, realizing there's no one left. The spike had been dropped over in 3 room, and it's another round for Gen.G. They've gotten themselves 1 round away from tying things up here, as the second half has looked so much better for them than that first half.
And Boq, when was the last time we saw Asuna put up a 5 and 12? It's been slow for him. It's been tough for him, tough sledding, so to speak. And he's forced buying here, as is the rest of Immortals. He and Dicey, the entries, buying down to nothing, going for broke. It's going to be a large investment, high risk, high reward play for Immortals, as it looks like they're spread out. This is not going to be one of those trademark aggressive pushes. This is going to be, let's sit back, wait, let's see what kind of info we can get before we make a move. But keep an eye on things mid. There is no utility. There is no personnel. Mid right now, completely okay.
Again, they're going to try to make their way into tree room. Works out nicely for them here as the middle step gets popped. The boombot did significant damage that softens up the targets for MkaeL, but the site has been lost. And it will be a 3-on-3 post plant. They've got run it back on the attacking. Of course, you're going to see that from Asuna, and he's going to do exactly what he did the last time. He's going to go through the door and probably pop this blast open and try and catch them as they work their way into heaven. Somehow that works out nicely for Asuna. And now he's back in the site with the rest of the squad. You still got one playing deep on Catwalk as well. Both players coming in from heaven. The Omen has smoked out Genghsta. That puts the pressure on Asuna here as he's isolated on the site and alone. He's right around the corner waiting for the drop to come through. The first one will be his. The follow-up not there. It's up to Huynh now, and he realizes time is too far gone. So Huynh is going to try to escape and save the ult for the next round. Immortals get themselves back on the board with a strong A push, as Gen.G just wasn't prepared for the power that came towards that A site.
You know, prior to this round, I was talking about Asuna and how he seemed to have been having a slow game, but that play with the run it back really was what opened things up there. The aggressive play, not only to get the kill when it looked like it was a close gunfight that he probably should have lost, but also to get the information of how much more of Gen.G was back in that spot of the map. They got what they needed. They were able to play it really well. And like you said, Boq, an important round for Immortals to get back on track, to get on the board. Dicey is still having himself quite the day here on Ascent at 21-12. Why do you need assists when you're able to get kills like that? He only had one to his name, but again, it doesn't really matter if you're able to frag out like he has so far. Spike, looks like it's going to be a play onto A again. The numbers advantage still going to be in favor of Immortals, but Gen.G has more resources that way. You see the Jet peeking out catwalk, not going to spot anyone, but they don't realize that there's this massive ball of Immortals that's working, excuse me, their way up A long, and this is, oh no. That's awful. Coming with the firewall instantly. There comes the orbital strike, not going to connect onto anyone, but it's going to buy time. And that might be the most important thing here. PL1's able to get a kill. Huynh tries to get one from the top ropes, not going to land, not going to connect. The spike is starting to rotate out, but look at Guimon. He might be able to stop this thing in its tracks.
Oh, no. Guimon has such a good flank. He has to be patient with this one. They go back to check for the flank. He knows they're still here. That's why the resources have not left A, but he also knows he can't overextend this play, because if he dies, that's the B site free and clear. The only person there to play defense, the Omen, who's back in mid. So he needs to play this one patiently and wait for the recommit. There's another dart cover coming out from the Omen and a push into the site coming through. They're going to take down the dart, and that's going to be the cue there for the flank to come in from Guimon. First shot's not on the money. Effys is there to pick one off. A trade out coming in as Koler drops PL1. And now you've got this lurk, the back-end play coming in from Guimon as the Rays. Are they prepared for it? It's all going to come down to timing. They're putting so much focus towards heaven that they're not ready for Guimon, who comes through main. And now it's all up to Jcstani, and again, it's a round for Gen.G put up on the board. They were not giving up number 11 to Immortals just yet.
We've got a map on our hands. Gen.G coming back from the dead after all seemed loss after the first half, with a very impressive performance, just giving up 2 rounds to Immortals. And as Immortals just looks to really drag themselves across the finish line on this map, the problem is Gen.G has surged out of the box here in the second half with 5 rounds to the 2 of Immortals. Gen.G playing this so well. Effys is having himself a day, as is Guimon. Everything is starting to click for Gen.G. As lost as they looked in the first half, it's a totally different story here.
The Brim going aggressively through that mid smoke. It's not exactly a strong round coming in from Immortals. It is just pistols. Got to be careful that you don't lose too many bodies in this. You want to try and build up that cash as much as possible as we get towards the tail end of the second half. Gen.G desperately trying to bring this scoreboard back in their favor so they can force it to map number 3. You've got Effys in position, slow warp going down, perfect timing there. The spray through doesn't necessarily find a body and take one out, but it does do damage. Effys even able to reel back and find one more. They have to be careful as Koler's gotten close, but it's a shorty around the corner for Huynh. Perfect timing on the shotgun. The shot through the wall as well. We are tied up at 10 apiece.
Let's take a look at that one more time, because it was just that dang pretty. Huynh holding that angle, and if it wasn't enough to get 2 with the shorty, he's able to get one with the op as well through the wall. This is a win that we were expecting. That's the win that I've been waiting to see this entire series, and that's the win that knots them up at 10 apiece. Immortals looked like they were going to be able to invest a little bit more here as far as gun goes. Yeah, Asuna's going to have a Phantom, and I imagine the rest of the squad has plenty to boot as well. Thank you, observers. You guys are the best to make my job easier. There are also 2 ultimates available on the side of Immortals to the 4 of Gen.G. So when you map out the situation when you divvy up who's got what. You've got to give the nod to Gen.G, not just because they have the ults available, but also because things have been so successful for them here. But Asuna opts to go in, not able to get anything. As he drops, it's going to get walled off as Genghsta is able to get PL1. With the ult, Stani gets one as well, and they're going to be able to get onto B. There is a hole in the wall, but at least for now, Immortals has site control.
I really like this change of pace from Immortals as well. This fast play towards the B site catches them completely off guard. And it's a difficult retake. Questions on whether or not they should even be trying for this one. Shots through the wall are right on the money. The Phoenix dropped down very low on HP. Not even realizing the damage has been dealt. MkaeL able to pick off one, and now the neural theft comes through. The ult being popped as well. That's the showstopper. But Gimon is now the last one left alive. It's a 1-on-3, and there's bodies all around. At this point, the round has been lost as site access denied by Immortals. He'll get picked off as well as he tries to find a home towards the logs. Gen.G may have tied up the score, but they're not able to take that lead away.
Genghsta and Asuna on the side of Immortals. It's going to be awkward. Yeah, Genghsta, well, he's been bought for, so he's going to be able to at least get light armor, and Asuna is going to be able to come out full. So it's going to be another round of good against good when it comes to artillery. Huynh is going to have that op as well. He's so deadly with that op. He's proven to be able to do that time and time again. No reason to think that this round will be any different, but the smokes might be the interference that's needed to keep him at bay. You see him working that mid angle, looking to see if anybody is going to play that aggressively. But again, Boq, it looks like it's going to be a push on to B. It worked so well for them last time that, well, why the heck not try it again?
Can't blame them. B site definitely proved to be a promising play for them in the previous round. You've got a similar positioning here. But again, the Omen in that same spot starts to fall back into the site, has to dodge the orbital strike as it comes through, gets pushed out of position. Molly comes in as well, and he's going to get taken down. So well played by Immortals here on the push. Gimon's going to get one. That was Genghsta, who was on the tail end of the play back towards B main. The spike has still not made it onto site. It's a three-man market move coming in from Gen.G. Jcstani and Logs currently right underneath. The Boombot's going to give away his position. He was low on HP, and that's brought things now to a fighting 3-on-3 on the site. You've got Asuna back behind the double box. Right around the corner from lane is Koler, and then in the back, you've got Dicey playing in the U-house, waiting for the push to come through. The smoke goes down, that delays things for the time being, but they're getting ready to move into position. It's a great crossfire setup. The first peek doesn't work out so well for Dicey. There's the play from Huynh, though. Tries to get vertical with the shotgun, works out momentarily, but it's Koler who's there with 4 on the round. That's number 12 for Immortals. They are now 1 away from closing out the series 2-0 over Gen.G.
Koler popping off when he was needed most there for Immortals, and it was his positioning on the site. Like, he was smack dab in the middle of all the chaos of everything that was going on, and to be able to get the kills that he got there proved to be the demise of Gen.G. They played that well, they set it up well, but Immortals and the firepower that they had just proved to overwhelm Gen.G. And now, like you said, Gen.G find themselves 1 round away from taking a trip to the losers bracket here in this best of 3. Once again, the spike over on B, not nearly as decisive of a push as we've seen in the past, but with how successful it's been, like you said last time, I can't really blame them if they opt to go for it again.
You can see a bit of a change too. The Omen is now over towards the A side, where we've seen the Omen over towards B. The Sage is playing A as well. They've got the Raze and the Jet over on A. Or on B, excuse me, but they're starting to pull those resources back towards A, and the push is coming through. They're already through Tree Room. MkaeL able to get one before they make their way onto site. You've got one currently in hell. It's player 1 who has to go big. Manages to pick off the first. Even with the flash, finds another. The round is getting stomped out here by the defense as it comes down to 2 that survive. We are going to that final round of regulation as Gen.G grab the round and barely hang on, but managed to force us to this point. Will they be taking us to overtime, or will Immortals be closing things out?
Oh, the money, Boq. Look at the money. Look at the money for Immortals. They don't have a ton to spend. Genghsta's got 2,100 credits. It doesn't. Dicey's Dicey is going to have full armor, but he's not going to have a gun with it. Same goes for Genghsta, and on the other side, it's going to be full guns with the exception of Huynh, and he has shown, what he can do with that weapon in his hand, and he has the Blade Storm as well. This does not look good if you're Immortals, but a Huynh gets dropped as he comes up from the top rope, taken right back down. Stany's able to get one as well, but now without Effys taking 2 of his own, that's going to leave things in a 3v3 here as Gen.G looks to force overtime. Player 1 is able to get one as Stany trades it back out. Now a 2v2, the spike onto the B site. The door sounds like it's going to be going down, and it's going to be a push on 2 fronts from Gen.G as Immortals tries to fend them off and tries to keep overtime out of the picture. You hear the clock ticking as the spike continues to tick away. Genghsta's going to play that tight angle. Stany's able to get one. It's just going to leave things as 1, and it's Grimon who's trying to keep it alive, and he does it! Holy cow! He takes care of Stany, he takes care of Genghsta, and we're going to overtime!
The entirety of that round, it's just so confusing for me. Gen.G plays aggressive. I understand why. They've got the Sage res. So the goal was to push into B main early, maybe find a kill, and then throw the wall down, res the Jet, bring him back into action. Unfortunately, Effys has to play trade duty as the Jet dies and there's too many bodies around the corner. Effys dies as well, and then it becomes a back and forth battle. A tug of war on the B site, resulting in a 1-on-2. They're thinking that those shock darts have done more damage, but one of the problems was one of those players was on 6 HP. So as they go for the double swing, it's a lineup for Gimon. So GMD taking things to OT here for Gen.G. Again, it's win by 2, so they're going to be swapping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's gotten to be very interesting here after a problematic start from Gen.G. Didn't think we'd find ourselves at this point.
No, but my goodness, this is why I love Valorant. Dicey's able to get the opening shot through the wall and win. An integral part to the success of Gen.G is going to be sitting on the sideline for this ever important round. And folks, like Boq said, if you have not watched overtime in Valorant in a little while, the rules have slightly changed. It is a win by 2 rule setting here, so even if Immortals wins this round, they're gonna have to put up another one. It's not one sudden death round. Gen.G's gonna get a chance one more time on the opposite side.
They found my wife.
Immortals, somehow after losing that one, look to fight their way back into this thing as they look for another lease on life. Sandy's able to get one. MkaeL trades it back as he guns him down. Asuna, nice shots on MkaeL, and Koler gets one as well. It's just going to be 1 member left on the side of Gen.G.
Immortals picking up the first round, but again, you mentioned it. They're going to have to now do that from the other side, and it's going to be a back and forth volley as they switch sides. Very often we'll see games go into double, triple, quadruple, and then on. Quintuple, septuple, sextuple, octuple, nonuple. I forget 10, to be honest. Decuple, I think it is.
Something like that.
Dectuple, yeah. Yeah. It has gone on deep into rounds. I've seen games play so many rounds in overtime that it's practically a CS match. And then some. Immortals, they pick up the round win on defense. Can they do the same thing on attack? That's where both teams have struggled. Money not necessarily an issue unless you're the op player. You get 5,000 and the ult points get reset. That's why you can see them going for those ult orbs. Control over towards B. Now, this is a concern right now. You see the B presence coming in for Immortals. That's where Gen.G has struggled as they've taken control of B a few times towards the tail end. That's where they found success. The Boombot's going to go in, gives away position of at least one player in that territory as it's gunned down quickly. The Owl going out in mid, not spotting anything. They take out a tripwire. 3 players now shifting over towards that A site. You've got the Raze here. You've got Cypher there as well, and Sage playing back in spawn. That puts a lot of pressure on Huynh as the op and player 1 as the Omen, who's currently sitting over in Garden by the Arch, and there are quite a few bodies building up on short.
Dicey's going to get a chance. A rare miss from him there as they flood into that area of the map. That's going to force him to back off. Koler getting Huynh again. A very important kill problem is player one has been spotted out in heaven as well. He's going to be forced to back off. The spike is going to be planted onto A, and this very well may be it, folks. If you're a fan of Gen.G, you might be looking at the end of the series here. Immortals has the numbers advantage. Gen.G just down one. Dicey's missing yet again.
That gives them a little bit of an opportunity here. Again, a man disadvantage right now as they try to go for the retake. Humon gets one with the nade as they come through from the door. It's a back and forth battle again. It's a brawl. This time it's on the A site. Effys has the wall going down on long. There's one remaining target. He's back behind them over in short. Humon's got a next level sixth sense as he's able to pick off Asuna. And again, we will go round and round and round until one of these teams can win 2 in a row.
Man, that one came down to the wire. Easily could have gone in favor of Immortals, but Gen.G, again, Guimon with a 4-piece there. To light up the scoreboard. So once again, keep Gen.G alive. It was he that forced it into overtime with that filthy 2-piece there at the end as the clock was ticking. And here he does it again. Gen.G just will not go away. For all intents and purposes, the series looked lost for them halfway through this map. But that's the thing about Ascent is you can rattle off so many rounds so quickly, so easily, that no lead is ever safe.
I really feel like whoever's going to win this, it's going to start with them winning the attack round. I don't feel like we're going to see an attack round trade. Defense round trading back and forth, yeah, that seems pretty logical. So Gen.G finding the opener here. MkaeL moving in towards the B site, picking off Koler. That's a promising start. They've got to contend with one who's been spotted back site. That's a great sage wall coming in from Effys to give that intel away. And now it's a 5-on-3, and they're setting up for the post plant. The slow orb comes in as well. There's Huynh chiming in with the op and reducing things down to now just one as Guimon picks off both players. Dicey and Asuna will fall, we mentioned it. It's going to come down to these attack side rounds, and Gen.G pick up the attack side round here. Feels like it'll be a little bit easier for them as they switch over to the defense. 31 kills currently on the scoreboard for Guimon, 24 for Effys, 25 on the opposite end for Dicey, 22 for Koler. As both teams continue to slug it out in the overtime number 2, maybe 2 of many.
You saw Huynh invest for the op there as he plays the middle of the map. Nobody going to challenge that on the side of Immortals. But what they are going to do is they're going to make their way up A. Effys probably going to put up the wall here to delay the push if he can hear. Yep. There's the audio cue. There's the wall. The drone's going to come through, but the wall's going to come right back down. Asuna is able to get Effys, and it looks like they're going to be able to get onto the site. But player one gets 3, looking for the 4th one. He's going to get mowed down at the hands of Stani. That's going to leave things in a 3v2 in favor of Gen.G. They still have a chance to put this map away.
It was so well played by PL1 there. The paranoia goes through as the slow orb comes in. The only reason he doesn't get more, the gun doesn't have enough bullets. Has to switch the sidearm. Paranoia wears off, and at that point, he's got 2 targets staring at him with rifles. But he's done the dirty work, and he's made things manageable here for Gen.G. There's the boombot going away, giving away the position of Jcstani. It's all down to 1, and there it is! Gen.G picked things up in overtime. And they are forcing us to map number 3, an impressive comeback after starting out with a serious deficit in the first half.